Malalai, Joya, thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you. Thanks for the interview.
Recently, you returned from a trip to the U.S. that didn't start well. You were denied an entry visa. The decision was later reversed, but why do you think this happened now, especially after the fact you visited the U.S. several times without any problems?
Because each time in the past, also when I went to U.S. and also to some other European countries, I exposed the wrong policies of U.S. and NATO in Afghanistan, who occupied our country under the banner of women's rights, human rights and democracy. And also imposed on our people the warlords, drug lords who are photocopy of the Taliban. And they waste their taxpayer money in billions of dollars, as now this occupation in Afghanistan, this criminal war, become open secret for the good people around the world in US and also in other European countries. That's why White House couldn't bear to hear the truth, and they want to block my voice. Same few years ago, US puppet regime of Hamid Karzai imposed ban on my travel abroad. But freedom-loving, justice-loving, anti-war organizations and activists in U.S. and even democratic-minded politicians, they put pressure on the government, and finally they gave me visa.
You've said many times that the U.S. and NATO have pushed the Afghans from the frying pan into the fire. What exactly do you mean by that?
Because these Northern Alliance fundamentalist warlords who are mentally same like Taliban, but only physically has been changed after 9/11. And these warlords, they were in power from 92 to 96, before of domination of the Taliban. And alone in Kabul, they killed more than 65,000 innocent people, destroyed our national unity, raped even our 4-year-old babies and grand old mothers, and many other crimes similar like Taliban they committed against our people. But with bloody hands, with a mask of democracy, suit and tie, they come in power after 9/11, impose on our people, and that's why the situation day by day getting worse to worse.
But surely things were worse for women under the Taliban regime, when they couldn't go to school or walk in the street alone. What sort of progress have you seen for women in Afghanistan since 2001?
It is true that after 9/11 tragedy here in Afghanistan, especially in some big cities, US and NATO, they built some schools. Some women and girls, they have access to job and education, but in most of provinces of Afghanistan, especially in the faraway provinces, in the villages and districts, the situation for women is like hell. Killing of women that much easy for the warlords and also Taliban, like killing a bird. Tens of thousands of innocent civilians has been killed by occupation forces who are bombing from the sky. Most of them are women and children. And rape cases, domestic violences, acid attacks, burning the girls' schools, and many other miseries against women, crimes against women increasing rapidly, even historical.
The United States invaded Afghanistan more than 10 years ago because the Taliban regime was sheltering Osama bin Laden. He's dead now. Does that change anything for Afghanistan?
Unfortunately not. Those who give shelter to Osama bin Laden, now US government and NATO invite these terrorists to join this mafia puppet regime of Hamid Karzai. And the warlords also have no problem with them. They are brother and creed of each other, and they are fighting just because of the power, because of the dollar, and they are puppets and enemies of our people, especially women. But U.S. government, they portray itself as a RAMBO, the movie star of Hollywood, by killing of Osama bin Laden. And because I want to tell you, as elections are coming, they want some success in this election and to deceive people of the world, especially people of the US. For the people of Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden has been has been killed 10 years ago. And the US government used him as a nightmare to deceive people of the West, and also they need to him for this criminal war and drama of so-called war on terror.
So you've clearly become a fierce critic of the U.S. mission in Afghanistan, but what happens when the United States leaves? There are plans to begin drawing down forces this summer. Are you worried about civil war or a return of the Taliban?
I think U.S. government, these dishonest politicians who continue their war crimes in Afghanistan and occupied my country. They are just liars. From one hand, they are telling publicly to our people and to their people through media that they will leave Afghanistan by mid of 2011 or 2012, very soon. But from another hand, they are talking about Karzai's puppet regime is talking about U.S. permanent military bases in Afghanistan. And they are here for their own strategic regional economic interest, and they will make another excuse. And it's very easy for U.S. government to make an enemy, to invent an enemy, as always they need to an enemy to justify their occupation and their war. So we wish that they leave Afghanistan, as now my people, they face three powerful enemies: warlord, Taliban, and occupation forces.
Like it or not, any future political reconciliation will have to include the Taliban, and that would likely demand certain compromises as far as civil freedoms go in Afghanistan, particularly for women. Would you be willing to negotiate with the Taliban?
I think it makes no sense that one bunch of terrorists like warlord, they will negotiate with another bunch of terrorists like Taliban. And the result of this is clear for everyone as human being, and especially we know their background and how much bloody, and they are terrorists, misogynists. Will be more bloodshed, more violences, especially against women, and more miseries for our people. And it's not new news for Afghan people. Taliban already this 10 years, they were in power. Indirectly, they had support of their godfather, like US government, and especially this 10 years supported Taliban indirectly by Pakistan, through Pakistan, by ISI. And Taliban already they were in power. Member of the parliament, Talib Mullah Abdul Salam Rakiti, member of the Senate is Talib Mullah Arsalan Rahmani, Mullah Mutawakkil, foreign minister of the Taliban, has good life in the safest place of the Kabul. Mullah Abdul Salam Zahif, spokesperson of the Taliban in Pakistan, the ambassador, he also has good life in the safest place of Kabul, and even sometimes as a politician coming to the media. This list can be prolonged that these killer Talib already they are in power.
So then what you're saying is it's a choice between bad, living with US and NATO forces here, and worse, being stuck again with warlords and the Taliban, or is it all the same?
Our history shows that we have proudful history. We never accept occupation. British in the past want to occupy Afghanistan, faced with resistance of our people. Russia as a superpower want to occupy our country. Our people with empty hands gave them a very good lesson. And day by day, resistance of the people getting more. Resistance of the students of the universities, some democratic-minded parties, ordinary Afghan people. They come on the streets with the dead bodies of these civilians, most of them are women and children, and their banners usually the U.S. out of Afghanistan.
But there used to be a time when most Afghans supported the U.S. mission in Afghanistan. Why did that start to change?
After 9/11, even our people, they had no good experience, a happy heart about foreigners. They had experienced British and Russia in the past, but because thousands of innocent people, American people, has been killed in 9/11 tragedy, they thought maybe this time they will be honest for Afghan people and will remove the Taliban from the power, and they really need to honest helping hand. But unfortunately, they removed the Taliban, but brought in power the photocopy of the Taliban. As day by day situation getting worse, and millions of Afghan, by presence of tens of thousands troops in Afghanistan, they suffer from injustice, insecurity, corruption, joblessness, poverty, etc. So they fed up from this situation, from this occupation. And now Afghanistan is the second most corrupt country in the world. More than $62 billion Karzai's regime received from the so-called international community under the name of reconstruction of Afghanistan, schools, orphans, widows, etc. But most of these money went into pocket of these warlords who are in power, even family of Hamid Karzai himself. Corruption starts from the palace house until the small offices. And millions of Afghans now, they live below the poverty line, like $2 a day. Violence against women day by day increasing more and more. And tens of thousands of innocent people has been killed. Most of them are women and children this 10 years. Only two pictures I can show you that these children children. They are not terrorists that they are killing under the name of Taliban. And now they invite Mullah Omar to join the government. Never they show this picture to good and justice-loving, peace-loving people around the world. I think people of U.S. around the world, they agree with my people that democracy never comes by occupation. Democracy never comes by military invasion. Democracy never comes by cluster bomb, by white phosphorus, by massacre, by bombing our wedding parties.
You paint a pretty bleak picture right now. Are you hopeful about the future of your country?
Yeah, I believe as long as hope is alive, anything is possible. These secret hero and heroine of Afghanistan who are underground activists, these are hopes. These girls who are going to school, they have eager to education despite all of these risks, and they throw seeds on their faces. When the journalists do interview with them another day, they bravely say, yes, when we become treatment, again we will go to the school. These are hopes and many other examples. That's why always my message to justice-loving people around the world is that please educationally support my people, because education is a key regarding resistance of Afghan people against occupation and against ignorance. And democracy without justice is meaningless.
You faced constant death threats here, and you have many supporters overseas who have invited you to move abroad. Will you ever leave Afghanistan for good?
Never, because I'm not better than my people. As a person, as a human rights, women rights activist, I want to play my role, and as I strongly believe that women rights, human rights, democracy, freedom of our country, justice and peace, these values are not something, a bunch of beautiful flowers that foreigner will gift us. It is true that we are receiving death threats and quite not normal life now we have because of telling the truth and raising the voice against occupation, against warlord Taliban. Have to live underground and create many risk and limitation and danger for us, but which is the positive point and hopeful point that people day by day they join us more and support me more. Through their support I understand how much I'm right. As always I said to my people that even if for a second I will sit silent, you think that it's just like a political death for me, as I believe that and always I'm saying I don't fear death. Every day our people, they kill our people, we face death in different way, but I fear political silence against injustice.
Thank you.
Heartfelt thanks for raising the truth, Jason.